Okay, this pertains to the incident that happened last night at 1321 Fernwood. Let me start from the beginning, because last night when I spoke to some of you, I didn't have all the facts. The call came in at 7:58 p.m. Came in reference to a woman with a knife who was somewhat agitated. The crew that actually arrived on the scene was not originally dispatched. They were out on another call, but they were close and they were able to get away from that call. They were on a burglary investigation, and they were able to leave that call, and they got there very quickly. They got there within about 3 minutes. About 1 minute after 8 is when they arrived, and that was Officers Diane Chandler and Rebecca Kenny. And the incident, which ended in the fatal shooting of Linda Hicks, actually occurred within a couple minutes after they arrived, and it was before their backup had got there. So they, in essence, were the only two officers there when this happened. Before they did arrive, the call was updated to indicate that the woman was armed with a pair of scissors. That was supplemental information that they had received. When they got there, they were told by Tanya Murphy, who is the caretaker of the group home. She also is the owner of the property. And there were two individuals that were living in this group home. They were both upstairs in different bedrooms. They were told basically that this Linda Hicks had not been taking medication, had been threatening people, was acting up, was agitated, and were told that she had this pair of scissors in her hand that she was threatening people with. So they went upstairs. The bedroom door was shut. They knocked. They opened the door. Linda Hicks was laying on the bed. She had her hands under a pillow. It appeared that she may have had something in her hand. They thought she had something in her hand. Because she wouldn't remove her hands from the pillow, they ordered her several times to remove her hands from under the pillow, telling her, let us see what's in your hands. And she basically ignored them. They tried to, Officer Kenny tried to deploy her taser, and the taser malfunctioned. It did not, the cartridge did not deploy in the manner that it's supposed to. So without the cartridge, she was able to use the taser in a drive stun mode. It's kind of a handheld mode. The technical term is drive stun, D-R-I-V-E. And what that is you place the taser against the flesh of the person. And she did that, and it got the effect that they expected. And Linda Hicks got up from the bed with the scissors in her hand, became very agitated, started making comments, obscenities toward the officers, made a comment to the effect that I'm going to kill you, or you're going to have to kill me, to that effect, and advanced toward the officers. The officers retreated, backpedaled, not retreated, but backpedaled, and Officer Kenny was able to descend a couple of steps down the flight of steps to the second floor. Officer Chandler was in a different position and was actually still in the hallway. Officer Chandler and Officer Kenny both indicated that Linda Hicks advanced toward Officer Chandler with the scissors in a raised position. Actually, it was in her left hand. And Officer Chandler fired 4 times. We believe, although we haven't confirmed this, that all 4 bullets struck her. We recovered 4 shell casings. The weapon was missing 4 rounds. So she fired 4 times. The reason that we're not real certain how many times she was struck is because one of the bullets actually hit the scissors, hit the pair of scissors, and it shattered one of the blades on the scissors into several pieces. And that also caused the bullet to fragment. So it's possible that that couple of those entrance wounds were caused by the same bullet. But one of the shots hit her in the head. I believe a second shot also hit her in the head. Is that correct?
Yes.
2 shots in the head, and she was killed almost instantly. The officers immediately summoned a life squad, and the life squad arrived and pronounced her dead. Both officers are on days off and will probably go on administrative leave, at least for a few days, until we determined how they're coping. Because these are very difficult situations, as you can imagine, for the officers. The matter is being investigated, as we do with all shootings of this nature. It'll be very thoroughly investigated. Had a number of detectives out there last night, including the supervisor and detective from the Scientific Investigation Unit to gather evidence. The caretaker did not actually witness the shooting. She was downstairs when it happened. She heard some of the things that were said, but she didn't see what was happening. And the other person in the house at that time was in her bedroom, so she did not witness it also. I've made copies of our use of deadly force policy for you. And I just want to read to you the one section here. It says, authorized use of firearms, defense of human life. Officers are permitted to use deadly, lethal options when it is reasonable to believe that a subject poses an immediate danger of death or serious physical injury to the officer or others. Officer Chandler indicated that she fired because she thought her life was in imminent danger. That is a matter that will be put before the Firearms Review Board when they review this matter. And that normally takes several weeks before all the reports are completed and the investigation is submitted to them for their review. The other thing that normally happens in these types of cases is the investigative report is submitted to Lucas County Prosecutor Julia Bates. She will either personally review the investigative file, or she'll have one of her assistant prosecutors review the file, and her office will make a decision whether or not that this will be presented to a grand jury for their review. That's a decision that is made at that level. There have been instances where a grand jury has reviewed it, and there have been instances where they didn't feel it was necessary to present it. As you know, the deceased, Linda Hicks, was in this home because she had some mental issues. And I communicated with Jackie Martin this morning, and I relayed the facts to her. I invited her to come to this press conference if she so chose to do so, and apparently she wasn't able to make it, but she had a lot of questions. I was able to answer those questions. The officer that fired, Diane Chandler, is actually a CIT officer. She's had that specialized training in crisis intervention training. This happened very quickly. I want to emphasize the fact that when officers are put into these positions, there are a number of questions that go through their mind before they make that decision to pull that trigger. And they have to answer those questions in literally a fraction of a second. It's a very difficult situation that they are put in. The 2 officers, Diane Chandler is 33 years old. She was appointed in March of '06, so she's been on the department for close to 5 years, not quite 5 years. It's not quite 4 years, '06. Officer Rebecca Kenny is 34 years old. She was appointed in December of '03, so she's been with the department approximately 6 years. Linda Hicks's criminal history is pretty much non-existent. There's an item on there from 1986, and it was dismissed. It was a